Hello, everyone. Excuse me while I do some level adjustments there. Because I can hear it a little different than you guys are. But anyway, I'm Dusty. Welcome back to a crafting stream in which I sort of keep myself accountable and try to do some stuff that I've been putting off, like finishing my huge pile of 3D prints. As always, if you guys have any questions about crafting, whether it's 3D printing related or not, I'm happy to chat, or you can talk to me about, like, whatever, or we can just listen to these rad, DRM-free kind of 8-bit music I have selected for you guys tonight. Have a drink, hang out, whatever works for you, and hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. So, last time, anybody who was hanging out, you probably remember that it turned out that my 2-part epoxy was very much, clogged and not functional. So I'm actually going to start with some gluing tonight because I bought new epoxy. So this time it should work. So this is what I use for 3D print bonding. You'll see a lot of people use super glue, and as with many crafting activities, there's not necessarily a right or a wrong way to do this. I prefer the 2-part epoxy because it is both a very strong bond, but it's not as brittle as super glue. Like, so super glue is really strong, but if you strike it or you drop it really hard, sometimes it'll crack or shatter because of that impact. Whereas something like this, the 2-part JB Weld plastic bonder, let me get that on camera there, is a little bit better in terms of, like, I drop my props sometimes. Like, I'll own up to that. Like, I definitely have dropped stuff on the con floor pretty regularly. And this has definitely withstood that abuse the best of anything that I've tried over the years. So this is a 2-part epoxy. Definitely, always be kind of careful with it. Make sure that it's ventilated and all that kind of stuff. I don't find that it has a super strong odor or smell or anything in particular when I'm using it wet. However, when you sand it, if you sand it, it does have, I believe, gypsum powder in it or something like that. Let's see, there's a warning on here. Safety directions, blah, blah, blah. Well, basically, never sand this unless you're wearing a dust mask or a ventilator. Basically, whatever safety equipment you need. Just, as always, be careful with your supplies and how you're using them. Because I'm opening the new, what do I want to call this? Package? The new package? It comes with a mixing tray. I don't know if you guys can read that. And this is really kind of a one-time use because once I mix the epoxy in here, I'm not really going to be able to clean it out. So I sometimes will mix on, like, cardboard, recycling. I'm a big fan of reusing stuff from the kitchen, trash, all kinds of stuff, so that I'm not wasting new materials on basically just super basic tasks like this. So they give you a little popsicle stick. I should probably buy a pack of these, to be honest, because I usually use just little chunks of cardboard. It doesn't need to be fancy. So let's see, I'm gonna start with arranging everything I plan to glue. So this epoxy has, it says a 15-minute cure, but then it has about a 24-hour recommendation for maximum hardness and cure. So it'll be firm in 15 minutes, but I do want to give it the full 24 before I sand, or before I paint, or before I do anything else. But that 15 minutes goes by a lot faster than you think, and I usually try to make sure that I have everything I'm planning on gluing laid out beforehand, just so that I can glue it all super quick and know where I'm going to put it, know where I'm going to set it up so that it has time to dry, and just kind of get everything figured out ahead of time. So I've also purchased this bag that you can see here of 5mm wooden sort of popsicle, well, it's not a popsicle stick, I guess it could be, but these little tiny dowels are going to make up the core of some of these pieces. So you can see here there's a hole, and I'm gonna end up filling that with glue and then inserting this stick in there, along with a number of the other parts of this item. And then it'll make sure that that piece is well bonded. So you can see it's a little too long. Like these. So I'm gonna need to cut off. Looks like about a little over an inch. So let's start there. Hopefully I have the adequate tools to do that in this space and that I don't need to do anything else. It's a little firm, but it's not that bad. I think I'll be able to get it. Just gotta spend a little time. So I'm trying out this new camera angle for crafting streams. This is something I'm still getting the hang of, let's say. A good mix of me being able to work on it and you guys being able to see what's going on. So that's lighting, that's angles, that kind of stuff. What the cutting? I promise. So I'm really careful. I always cut away from myself and never towards myself. Knock on wood, I usually am injury-free at the end of most projects. Oh, I'm quiet. Really? Oh, my levels are bouncing pretty high. Let me... Maybe is the music too high? Is that what it is? Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit, just so that the difference between me and the music is better. Okay. Yeah, I might just have to be a little closer to the mic here. Let me know how that goes. Okay, there we go. So see, I scored and then I was able to break it quite easily. That was not very difficult. So let's see if this is the right length now. There we go. These do have a direction. Yep, that looks pretty good. So that's just gonna form a much stronger core once I get that going. I also have this whip from Hades, and this is also based around a 5mm core. So both of, actually that's not true. The whip, these files are from Dangerous Ladies. They make a lot of really great files, and they've been doing a lot of Hades stuff lately. I do frequently make my own files, but this is a commission, and sometimes folks send me file sets to print, and I just get paid to do the printing and assembly. Because a lot of you guys know how to paint and stuff, but sometimes it's very nice to have the accuracy of a 3D printer. The Jester Sickle is... Oh, I'm trying to remember. It was someone on Thingiverse. Let me look that up. I want to make sure that they get credit. Let's see. Jester Sickle. It's by Amanda Dinosaur. It's also a great file set. So Thingiverse, it's free. If you want the 3D files for this sickle, they're super accessible. Just look up Amanda Dinosaur. Yeah, so these dowels are just slightly thinner than the holes in the model, but that's actually good because that means that I will also be able to sink glue in there. Yeah. So this one's going to be pretty easy to set up because it just sits vertically like this. Some parts are a little harder to arrange, let's say, in a position while they dry so that they dry straight. Because, you know, like let's say that I had these two pieces and I glued them together, but then I left it somewhere like that and it started to open up or sag. So I really want to make sure before I start that I'm going to be able to set this up somewhere so that it sits flat and it sits straight and it sits the way I want it to sit while that glue sets up. One of my favorite tricks for doing that is duct tape, actually, because I learned sort of by accident that this 2-part epoxy doesn't really stick to the sticky side of duct tape. Like, you can pretty much put duct tape right over the epoxy, and then once it's all dry, you can just peel it off, which is actually great. So I very regularly will epoxy parts together, and then I'll duct tape around the outside, and then let it dry, and then I'll take the duct tape back off, and it works great. It's a great stabilizer. So let me grab some duct tape. I know, duct tape cures many ills. Many, many ills. So let's see, where am I gonna set this up? I like to always make sure it's somewhere a little out of the way, otherwise I will absolutely end up bumping it. I'm a big fan of using like literally random junk on my desk to just prop things up. So the reason I look like I'm looking around is because I'm trying to decide what random junk I would like to use today. You used duct tape in show choir. Yeah, I bet you did. In theater, I also love gaffer's tape. That sort of like more fibrous matte black tape that they use to put cabling down. That stuff's nice. Can't decide where I'm gonna put this. I think I'm just gonna be able to duct tape around it though. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. This I'll be able to put... Are there any cups right now? The endless saga of like... Oh yeah, I can put it in this drawer. Okay, I think I'm ready to start gluing. I think I know where I'm gonna put everything, do everything. We would get the massive rolls, and then a lot of the bustier girls would duct tape themselves into the corsets. Oh yeah, that's legit, man. In choir and theater, sometimes you just gotta do what makes things stay in place. So part of the trick to this epoxy is definitely getting your ratios even. The double plunger actually helps a ton with that. But even sometimes if you don't push both sides equally, you will get kind of a mismatch. And if your ratio is too off, then the epoxy won't ever really cure quite right. It stays very sticky. And that is not ideal if you're planning on sanding it or doing any kind of finishing work. You really don't want it to stay sticky like that. Plus, it'll make the bond less strong. It'll be a lot weaker. So I'm only going to start with this amount. It's very, very likely that I'll need more than this, but I can always mix more in the same tray, and I'd rather not have it set up and start to harden while I'm working with it. And I'm just gonna keep mixing until it's all evenly mixed. Try to make sure I get everything. This epoxy comes in a few different colors, namely tan and black, although I think I've seen a white. And I'm really not choosy. I usually just buy kind of whatever's at the store at the time, because it's pretty rare they'll have two of them. So, whatever. Today we're using tan. So I'm gonna work from the bottom up on this. Well, is that true? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna work from the bottom up on this. So basically, I'm gonna seal this bottom hole. Let me put that on camera for you guys. Oh, Samir, hello! Oh my god, I just got raided. Hi, Bedoni, and everybody who just showed up. How are you? I'm talking about epoxy gluing 3D printed parts together. So I'm gonna use duct tape to seal this hole on the bottom before we get started here. What's up, Bedoni? I try to work on dope shit. It's like my goal in life. How was your stream, Bedoni? I was busy setting up over here, so I didn't get to drop by. But I hope you had a wonderful and fantastic stream. I had something very magical happen today. This is a little off topic, however, it was very important to me. I was sitting in my living room, And for the first time in 2021, I heard the ice cream truck. It is Meg, Dr. Psychowl. This is not for me, this is a commission for a friend, but these are the files from Dangerous Ladies. It's the Meg Whip files, and they are fantastically designed, highly recommend. But I am making a lot of Hades shit lately, let me tell you guys. I'm talking to somebody right now, but I'm probably also going to be designing the files for Persephone, but her alternate look. And I'm not going to say more than that because if you guys haven't finished the game, it's kind of a spoiler. But her alternate look is really cool. Alright, I'm just going to kind of start by getting some of this epoxy into that hole. And then I'm gonna stick this dowel in there and get that party started. So I'm coring these prints with this 5mm dowel just because it'll help with stability and with making sure it doesn't break if it gets sort of tweaked or dropped or any other kind of stuff long term. You can make adult jokes, that's fine. I am talking about putting slightly gooey white fluids into a hole. I know exactly what I'm saying. Alright, so I want to make sure that has a good flush fit. And then I'm going to kind of wipe some of this excess off here. I know, it does look terrible, especially because the color is just, yeah, that's where we're at. Ooh, Dr. Psychowl, make a Zagreus sword. Do it for yourself, although I bet that would also be a very popular item for the charity work that you're doing. People are very horny for Hades. I love Hades. I am planning on making Thanatos at some point. I keep being like, oh, maybe I'm over it, like maybe, you know, and then I'll like play the game again and I'm like, nope, I still love this dumb edgelord. Okay, so this whip is gonna require 2 dowels just because it's a little longer. So I am gonna need to make sure that I get the length right on this second one. So I'm gonna cut it just a little bit longer because my intent is actually to uncover, so where I taped before, I'm gonna uncover that at the end of what I'm doing right now, and I'm gonna push the dowel back down a little bit so that it can sink into this end cap and really just kind of complete the coring correctly in that way. So let's see, I'm gonna break this in half, which I think I can just do by hand. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes things don't need to be super tidy. What is this song that's playing right now? This is very, like, circusy. It's like 8-bit circus. Alright, I'm putting more of this, like, terrible stringy white fluid in the hole, everybody. It's late. You know, what's a little adult content? My channel is, has an adult warning on it, I think. Dowels and rubber bands are always good things to have, to be honest. I'm gonna double check myself before I epoxy this. I want to make sure that this part is oriented in the correct direction. Okay, yeah. We're good, we're good, we're good. It's always good to double check. I think every cosplayer has made the mistake of attacking, oh my god. Sometimes I feel like attacking my cosplays, of attaching something in the wrong direction. We have all definitely done that at some point. So you guys can probably see this is already starting to get really thick. This is why I made less than I thought I would need at the beginning, because I just didn't want it to set up too quick. So I'm actually gonna make a little bit more right now, real fast. Fortunately, this syringe has a notch that indicates which direction you're supposed to close it so that you don't fuck up. Yeah, Purple? Do you swear a lot? Or just play like adult content or show adult content? I know that I swear, so that's kind of my my main motivator. Although games like Shadow of Mordor are pretty, let's say, based on a really significant amount of murders, so that's maybe not child-friendly. I was talking to some friends of mine last night, and I was sort of joshing around about the possibility of doing a, what I'm going to call a show, but a recurring event on my Twitch channel in which I play children's games that we all remember from when we were kids, but it's a drinking game. So it needs to be very, very clear that, like, this is for adults. Please do not sit your children down in front of my channel. I will be saying fuck, you know, like, let's not go there. But it's like, you know, I want to play like Freddy Fish and like Spy Fox, like these kids games, but there's gonna be like a drinking game element to this. So I need to come up with like a cool, catchy name that indicates very, very quickly that like this is not a show for children. All right, we're almost there. Basically, the game with this epoxy is you want to use as much as you possibly can without it leaking out the edges too much. But the more the merrier, really. And I generally do end up kind of having to wipe a little bit off the seams, which is fine. It's not relevant with this model because this model mostly is rings that are seated inside each other. But with flat models, when I'm bonding them together, like that sickle in the middle, I usually will overfill the seam a little bit and then I will sand it back down to get a perfectly flush bond. Oh my god, yeah, are you guys vibing with the adult content idea? Because I really want to do that. Let me move my window over so that I can keep an eye on the chat a little bit better. There we go. Adult playthrough. Yeah, you know what, Purple? That's a good idea. I probably should just put like kind of a warning in the corner. I just want to be cautious, you know, because it's like if I'm gonna be playing a game that's like very, very deliberately made for pretty small children, I just want to make sure that people don't, you know. I'm trying to get this straight. It's kind of rocking around a lot in a way that's irritating me. Because I want to make sure it's lined up exactly perfectly. Come on. I'm very picky about things like this. But it matters, you know? Alright, I think that's good. Yeah, 18 plus, also a good option. But I need like a cool, catchy name. Some buddies of mine were saying I should do pour and play, which I do really like, very catchy. It doesn't really indicate the like, oh, these are kids games aspect, but I could have it be like pour and play like Freddy Fish, you know, or pour and play Spy Fox. And I think I should do it on a weekend, either a Friday or a Saturday. Because if I'm gonna be asking people to play a drinking game, I can't do that to people on a Tuesday. Yeah, mods for sure. I'm very lucky. I'm still a relatively small streamer, so I can usually self-moderate my streams. But it is definitely worth having people keep an eye out. There are a few people I've given mod powers, but Donnie's a mod. One thing I'm also very careful of with this epoxy is it gets everywhere. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't get all over me. Alright, so I still have a little bit of epoxy left, and I like to use that as much as humanly possible. Yeah, what's up, Dr. Psychowl? You're a mod too. Oh, speaking of which, Dr. Psychowl, you far and away have earned a badge from me for most gift subs, and I want to make you a cool badge for that. So if you have a request, let me know. Or an idea what you think my maximum, like, top tier badge, gift sub, whatever thing should be. There's a name for that I'm forgetting, but... Okay, I'm trying to see how much epoxy I can get into this hole. How much of this concerningly white-colored substance can I stuff into this extremely small hole? I'm gonna get, like, banned on Twitch for this kind of content. Yeah, right, Purple? It's a little inappropriate. Didn't really think that through before I started this stream. Yeah, I think you can say a fair amount of stuff on Twitch. Alright, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I need somewhere to put this, though. Let's see. I bet I can stack these little bits of cardboard under here. Yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, I gotta make just a little bit more. Bjorn and Quizzic related badge. Oh my god. I should draw Quizzic. I don't really know what her badge would be. Eyeballs? Literally just eyeballs? Because she's always watching. Oh my god, you guys have to see this sticker I got in the mail today. So I bought a replacement part for my printer. So this is just a new nozzle. It's a super standard part to replace. These wear out. But the company also included this sticker, which is very on brand for me. I send this a lot. I'm always sending eye emojis. It is actually the logo of the company. Like, somebody really was bold enough to be like, hey, what if our company logo was legitimately like just an eye emoji? And in fact, the taller of the two printers that's sitting behind me right now, like the image that's underneath the glass print plate is a huge copy of those eyeballs. My printer legitimately does just have a giant pair of eyes on it. As well as the skates, which are the little black things at the end of the delta arms. All of those also have laser engraved eyes on them. My printer is literally covered in eyes. Eye is your most used emoji. You know what? That tracks. I think you use the eyes more than I do. Do you just want the eye, like a good, like funny custom eye emoji as your badge? I could do that. Be like, oh, you want eyeballs next to your name? Like, gift more subs than Dr. Psycho. Good luck. Dr. Psycho is the gift sub fairy. Like, it would make sense for me to make you an owl, but the eyeballs are just so powerful. The continuing saga of, let me just fill this hole for you guys real quick. It's like crafting porn. When they say crafting porn, they really mean it. Okay, I have to make sure this is on here straight. The only straight things we like on this channel are 3D printed parts. That's not true. I love my straight friends. She had to tell you what the eyes mean? What do you mean, Bodoni? What do you mean by what do the eyes mean? The eyes are just like an energy. What do the eyes mean to you? Okay, I'm gonna end up gluing this sickle in 2 parts. I'm gonna let this whole sort of handle assembly that I've made here cure completely first, and then I'm gonna add this second blade section. So that might be a separate stream just because I need to leave this completely alone and just not touch it and let it set up. I thought they referenced the That's So Raven gif. I didn't know they were an emoji. Oh my god, Bedoni. Wait, what? That's So Raven? The one where she's like chewing and looking to the side? Is that the one? And yeah, Purple, the eyes mean I'm watching the tea be steeped. Yeah. To me, sometimes the eyes have that energy of like, I am looking. You know that like the round yellow emoji face that's like, I am looking respectfully, or like, I am looking disrespectfully, or like, I am looking. It's like the opposite of the I do not see it. Let me see what else I have that needs to be glued. I have this bead that I really want to fix for Emily Ann, but I'd rather use black epoxy to do it. Like, I really don't want to use tan epoxy to do this, so I'm gonna do that another time. What else do I have that needs sorting? Ooh, okay, I know what I can do. You weren't on Twitch or Twitter or Discord before Gut Punch. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And like emojis kind of change meaning over time. I'm a big user of the frog plus the coffee cup because there's no tea. And to me, that's the Kermit drinking tea meme. That it's like me being like, oh, that's none of my business, but like I am being a shady bitch, you know? I have a friend of mine whose mom thinks that the upside down smiley face is exactly the same as the normal smiley face, which most millennials would feel otherwise about. And it's very funny because like a lot of times the text will be like, you know, have a great day, sweetie, or whatever, but then it like has the upside down smiley face. So what I'm gluing right now is I'm putting these pegs into this piece. This is the center of the axe that I made for The Old Guard. I don't know if you guys have watched that movie on Netflix. It is amazing. It is so fucking good. Like I was seeing people scream about it and I was like, huh, I should check this out. It's so good. The upside down smiley face to me is like that sort of very millennial energy of like, I'm gonna say this is fine even though it's not. Of like, nah, this might as well happen to me. Like, this is not in any way fine, but I'm gonna say it is because I have no other choice, you know? Yeah, I did say I'm pegging that prop. This is starting to be very, very pornographic, y'all. I can't believe you guys basically, like, some of you at least, hung out on Amber's stream, which I imagine was significantly more wholesome. Then you came over here and we just started making dirty jokes about prop making. I'm the late night show here tonight. You know, what would you guys do without me? Certainly not make dirty jokes about prop making. I cannot tell you, I was working on it's not an NDA anymore, I guess. I was working on that Kitty Pryde project for Marvel for several months last winter. And there were a number of just sort of like various scheduling and other issues with the Lockheed puppet, which I didn't make. That was Scott Pope. What is his username? I'm trying to remember. But just like literally just for the bit. Lee and I kept calling it the Bad Dragon. Which it wasn't. It was a fantastic prop. He did a fantastic job, but it was like we just had to make the joke, you know? Yeah, wild card. Thank you, Bedoni. If you haven't seen his dragon puppet, go check out Wildcard. There's I think it's the photo that he posted. So there's a photo of him and Hey Lizard Lee wearing the costume. And in the photo, there's a pair of arms in a leather jacket. And those are my arms. So when I was talking earlier about kind of overfilling seams and then sanding them back down, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm actually going to put on a pretty thick layer here over this flat seam. And then once it all dries, I'll be able to come in with a Dremel and sand it back down completely flat so that hopefully when this gets painted, you won't even be able to tell. Because a lot of adhesives and epoxies and glues and that kind of stuff, a lot of them contract just a little bit when they dry. So if I were to completely scrape this flush, there's a very good chance that when it dried, it would contract just a little bit and create kind of a little bit of a gap. So by overfilling it, I'm sort of combating that issue. Sometimes I actually do have to do multiple rounds on something like this and do multiple rounds of epoxy, which is fine because it creates a perfectly smooth finish, which is really the goal. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. And for anybody who's ever, who hasn't done 3D printing or doesn't know this, there's not a big difference between the colors. The fact that I have used white and black filament here means basically nothing. Once it gets painted, it'll all pretty much look the same. Hardcore printing enthusiasts do sometimes feel that different pigments in the filament can affect how it prints, so I'm not going to say that there's no difference, but it's so negligible in terms of the finished product that it really doesn't matter that much. All right, I'm going to put this out of the way so that I don't knock it over. And I'm just going to kind of, so sometimes I will kind of scrape the remaining epoxy smooth, only because once this dries, I can actually go right over it and just make more epoxy in this same container. And it won't matter. So I'm just making my life easier for future me. I am going to, however, throw this stick away. And it's going to stick to the inside of my trash bag, and you know what? That's fine. All right, I didn't end up needing the duct tape at all. I mean, it'll come back. The duct tape always comes back. You guys want to see something cool? So I got a new resin printer, and this is the test print on the Photon. But this is a single print with no support material. Yeah, see, Dr. Psycho, like most people have a color that they just prefer. I generally prefer printing in the white that you're seeing me print a lot of these prints in, just because like it happens to be a color that behaves well for me from that particular brand on my particular machines. It can vary a little bit, but it's generally preference, it's generally brand. It just depends. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of print trimming because I have a lot of prints that I printed, as one does, with support material that kind of needs to be cut off. And you can do that with a Dremel. I often do. It really depends. The X-Acto blade gives me a little bit more control and a little bit of more finesse. So for like little things, little gaps, curves, that kind of stuff. If it's a big crunchy area, sometimes it is genuinely just better to go in with the Dremel. It really depends. And sometimes, honestly, because I'm already sitting at my desk, I'm like, I mean, I am going to do this with my X-Acto, even though I should do it with my Dremel. Because, like, I'm lazy and I don't want to go over into my studio and get messy. So these pieces are part of Nyx. I'm doing a huge batch of Nyx from Hades prints for a friend of mine. Also Dangerous Ladies files, if you're interested. But so I have lots of skulls, and then these are kind of the wing part that gets attached to the moons on the shoulders. So she's got those big moons, but you can see there's this kind of purple wing section that sits behind it. And in the Dangerous Ladies files, those are modeled and they sit in the middle of the moon. Oh yeah, Dr. Cycle, their Edelgard files are quite good as well. I did a very quick Edelgard modeling commission for someone. They just needed the... So she's got those like kind of tiny little like fleur-de-lis. They're not quite fleur-de-lis. They've got extra leaves, but they look kind of like fleur-de-lis, and they're like on the shoulders, I think, of her final, that big red outfit. And you almost can't tell what it is in the art, but so I modeled these like really cool little detailed leaf pieces that my client was going to print out on their resin printer. I have not played her route yet. I played Blue Lions and I'm working on Golden Deer right now. I played the whole DLC, so I played Grey Wolf, Ashen Wolves, and I need to finish Golden Deer, and then I'll probably go back and do Edelgard's route. The real question, you guys, where's my X-Acto blade? Ah, it's hiding behind my beer. You would love Edelgard. I can see why she's your type. Are you really surprised that I love Claude? Well, sorry, Claude is my second favorite. I actually really like Dimitri. And, like, Felix is very good. I like all of the Blue Lions. Although Ash is my son. I love Ash very much. Which one is the yellow house? That's Golden Deer. So we're talking about Fire Emblem Three Houses. AKA, it's a Fire Emblem game, so we're gonna, you're just gonna be a teacher who dates your students and also makes them commit war crimes. Because this is an anime game. And also, someone is a dragon. I am being somewhat facetious about this game. Like, I'm not lying to you, but this is not necessarily how it's presented. Like, basically, there is conflict, and all of your students are taught to be good fighters and good soldiers because, like, obviously, you need to train your units in an RPG to be good at fighting in the RPG. But technically, you are a teacher at a school who's, like, teaching your students to go to war and kill people. Yeah, Bedoni, there's one dragon. And I'm not gonna spoil for you guys who it is, but someone in the game is a dragon. Actually, no, there's more than one dragon. Well, okay, there are wyverns, which are mounts that some of your units can ride. So, like, Setith rides a dragon. There are a couple of other mounts. They're like Pegasus unicorns. They could be named Bubbles. So you guys can see how kind of hairy this edge is. It's because there was support material here that I just sort of very quickly ripped off with a pair of pliers. But I'm gonna kind of go in here and finesse this edge just a little bit. Fedoni, were you a dragon fan as a kid? I feel like a lot of kids fell under kind of either dragons, unicorns, horses in general, I would say, with a few kind of other fantasy creatures smattered in there. But I feel like the big dinosaurs. Oh, speaking of dragons, who's Dr. Psycho. What is this gonna be? Sea serpents? Gotta deal with all these fucking pirates. I was a dinosaur kid. I was a dragon kid. I was a horse kid. I was kind of a little bit of everything. I was not a unicorn kid. That's kind of my one exception. I was not a fairy kid either. None of the, like, quote-unquote girly stuff, which, like, of course, objectively is silly, but, you know, sometimes kids, like, are a little binary about their assigning of various fantasy creatures. Stuffed Dalmatians, huh? What are you, Cruella de Vil over here? Benevolent Cruella de Vil? Yeah, dinosaurs are pretty dope. I love a good dinosaur. I'm from Colorado, and Colorado has a ton of the major dinosaur discovery sites. Pretty much all of the Southwest, actually, and the Rocky Mountains. There's just a lot of geologic activity out there in which a lot of the levels of the Earth that contain fossils get pushed up close enough to the surface that it's pretty easy to find fossils. It's actually gotten to the point in a lot of areas where fossils will be discovered and no museums will take them because they already have so many. So it has actually become, in about the last 10 years, quite easy to buy a lot of types of dinosaur bones as a private collector. Because it used to be almost impossible because people were like, well, you know, the museums should get them, like private collectors shouldn't be the ones who are holding on to these incredibly valuable fossils. But so many museums now are just swimming and swimming and swimming in certain types of fossils, and so the private market has expanded a little bit, for better or for worse. Ooh, Egyptians. I was a big Egypt nerd, not because of Stargate, I just liked Egypt. Let me see if I can find my little pliers. So I kind of played myself here a little bit. This is another item that, yes, is pegged. But you can see there are these little holes here that printed with the support material inside. So I do need to clear those out, which is very irritating. So I'm using a smaller set of needle nose pliers just to get in there. House of Anubis? What is House of Anubis? I don't know what that is. Oh my god, I love the Mummy movie! I feel like we can all agree. The Mummy movie, amazing. Truly amazing. I don't know if I trust people who think that movie's, like, bad. I mean, we need not speak necessarily of the third one or, like, any of the Scorpion King movies, but the first movie, stellar. Absolutely stellar. Oh, I love Wishbone. Wishbone is truly one of my childhood favorites. I had a stuffed animal of Wishbone that talked. If you touched, like, if you squeezed different parts of its body, like its little paws and its little ears, and don't make it dirty about Wishbone, then he would, like, say different phrases and stuff. And I wore that stuffed animal out. It kind of stopped working because I used it so much. I'm sure my parents loved that. I still think about his little paws in the, was it the Odyssey? Where he fired the arrow through all of those axes with his little dog paws. The Robin Hood episode was also fantastic. I loved that. I loved Magic School Bus. I loved Reading Rainbow. Also, as always, my safety PSAs. If you're going to be doing what I'm doing, be careful. Try to use a sharp blade. Cut away from yourself. Don't push too hard. If it really feels like a cut isn't happening, don't push harder. You're just going to slip and hurt yourself. As always, be cautious with your tools. It seems counterintuitive, but a sharper blade is actually safer because you know how much pressure you need to apply to cuts. Versus a dull blade, oftentimes you have to push harder, which means that if it slips, which it's more likely to do, it'll cut you. So keep your blades sharp, change them out, that kind of stuff. You made a board game based on Egyptian lore. Ooh, that's fun. Oh, the new Magic School Bus not as good? You know, I heard that. It's tough to recreate the magic sometimes. You know how, like, sometimes in life there are photos that you just, like, don't have a copy of and you really, really wish that you did? There is a photo that somebody has somewhere in the world of me and LeVar Burton, because he, like, randomly showed up at one of my old jobs, and I don't have a copy. This is a little off topic, but it was making me think about Reading Rainbow. So we're making a little progress. We're getting these holes cleared out a little bit. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I need to get them clear enough. I probably will come back in here with a Dremel and kind of smooth some of this out, but I'm getting rid of the major crunchy bits. I have found sometimes that if I leave too much sort of this really crunchy support material stuff, it can really rip up the rotary wheel on my Dremel, which makes the sandpaper wear out faster. So it's kind of a balance of time. What's your time worth? A lot, generally. But also keeping your supplies in good shape. Your DoorDasher is lost. No. I can't tell you guys how good that ice cream was today. The ice cream truck was outside for the first time, which means it's officially summer. But Emily and I ran out there. He was like literally driving away. We were like running down the sidewalk being like, oh, sorry. House of Anubis. I don't know anything about that. Can somebody give me like a one-sentence rundown? Is it fiction or non-fiction? What am I drinking tonight? Oh, so here's a good story. Actually, it's a good question. My favorite summer beer is finally back in stock. This is also the sign that it's summer. This is 5 Boroughs Summer Ale, and it has the most vaporwave can on Earth, which I also love. It's kind of just like a nice, light, summery ale. There's nothing really special about it. Although I gotta say, I've had quite a few beers from 5 Boroughs, and I've liked all of them. So I think I'm loyal to this brewery now. What are you guys drinking? If you're drinking anything. If you're not drinking anything at all, however, please go get yourself a glass of water. This is me, being your parent, reminding you to take care of yourselves. Drink water. Be well. We're in a pandemic, but that doesn't mean you can't drink water. We're in a Panera. We're in a Pizzoli. Blueberry acai tea. Ooh, very nice, very nice. I go through weird phases. Like, there will be times where I drink, like, at least a cup of tea a day, and I just fucking go crazy and have a cabinet full of tea. And sometimes I'll go through months at a time where I don't drink any tea at all. We're in a panoramic. Ooh, that's a new one. Miss Rona. I feel so bad. A buddy of mine was like, literally, he was probably gonna get the shot like next week. Like, he was poised to get his vaccine, and he started feeling really shitty a couple days ago, and he was like, I think maybe I'm just dehydrated, you know, like, and it kept getting worse, and he was like, shit. And so he got a test, and he does have COVID. He was like, I made it all this time, so careful this whole time, and I got it right at the last second. Yeah, right? I feel so bad for him. And now his, like, roommate probably has it too. You got your first one this Thursday? Good, congrats, dude. I get my second next Thursday. I'm pretty hyped about it. It's really encouraging to see that a lot of people are starting to get them. I mean, it's still gonna take a little while before, like, the whole country is eligible and has the access and that kind of stuff, but it feels like maybe a light at the end of the tunnel, you know? Well, a bunch of my meat drinkers are hanging out. How do you feel about those new flavors? I feel like the rose hip one looks really good. I should specify from Groenfeld and Havoc. But I know you guys keep an eye on them too. The art on the sour apple one was cracking me up though. I was like, this is a little uncanny. Oh, I've heard that too. I've actually heard that both Pfizer and Moderna can give you pretty rough second dose symptoms. Well, you can tune into my Shadow of Mordor stream next week and see how I'm doing, because that's gonna be a little more than 24 hours after my second shot. So, I mean, okay, if I feel too bad, I'll just either cancel or delay the stream, but hopefully I will be fine. Ooh, you pre-ordered both of them? Ooh, alright. I was very sad I dragged my feet too long on the blueberry coffee flavor from Groenfeld. Alright, this is looking a little better. I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit with a Dremel later. which is far too noisy a thing to make you guys watch, but you're just gonna have to imagine it. Oh man, see, I was hearing that. I was hearing that the copy one was actually, like, good as hell. This is very messy, what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to vacuum. What a tragedy, vacuuming. They distribute all over New York. That's a good question. I will have to look. Do you know if they have like a tracker on their website or anything that tells you where to buy it? I have actually had a lot of trouble finding mead in New York City. I don't know exactly why, but I think it's because of our liquor license situation. Because here in New York, you can buy a liquor license either for wine and hard liquor or beer. And I feel like because mead is kind of canned and like brewed in the way that beer is, but it's not beer, I wonder if it is kind of that a lot of the distributors are uncertain about whether or not they're allowed to stock it. I keep meaning to talk to the guy at the liquor store around the corner. He's really nice, but I keep meaning to be like, yo, like, have you considered stocking canned mead? And see what he says, because I think that he would know, actually. Even if the answer is like, oh, we're not allowed to do that. Because he's also very much the type of small liquor store owner who's like, oh, if you want it, like, let me know and I'll special order. So he might be able to get some stuff for me. I will say that Groenfeld's shipping I find to be quite reasonable, especially because they're shipping liquid, which is very expensive and very heavy. But I still generally, you know, would have to buy like a lot of cans to be worth it. And it's nice, you know, just to be able to walk to the liquor store, pick up whatever I'm feeling. Although I'm now completely certain that the beer aisle at my local grocery store is like extremely cursed. Some of you already heard this story, but there was a man who came up to me in the beer aisle a couple weeks ago and like made me stop, made me take off my headphones, like really committed to like having a conversation with me. And as soon as I had my headphones off, he like looked me in the eyes and he was like, "Have you ever eaten human meat?" And I was like, "Excuse me? What?" And then he repeated the question and I was like, "No." I was definitely so startled by the absurdity of that question that I kind of was just staring at him. I was like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And then he sort of like gestured at an open text message conversation on his phone. And I want to be clear, like this guy seemed very lucid. He seemed like he was in his right mind. Like he didn't seem unwell. And he gestured at his phone and he was like, "Oh, someone is trying to get me to do it." And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, you know, and then he kind of like very awkwardly just like walked away, which was very disconcerting. And then the more I thought about it, because of course I was telling everybody I knew about that weird event, the more I remembered that several weeks earlier I had seen a completely different man in the same aisle who didn't seem okay, who seemed like he probably needed psychiatric help, but he looked at me and I looked at him and I kind of like hustled out of the aisle because I was like, you know, that's kind of weird. And as soon as I walked out of the aisle, he started full volume just screaming, "Help me." Like, help me. And I was like, oh, Jesus, you know, like, ooh. Yeah, worried about where the meat is coming from. Yeah, so, like, the fact that those two events happened in the truly exact same section of aisle at the grocery store, like, literally to the foot, the exact same spot, I'm like, there's something wrong with that grocery store. There's, like, a ghost or, like, some kind of, some issue. Yeah, Little Fuzz, it was like, I couldn't figure out what to say to him because the only thing I could think about was that there was a Reddit thread, there was an Ask Me Anything a while back about this guy who knew that he was having a limb amputated. And so he invited all of his friends for like a banquet where they like cooked up pieces of his leg in different ways and they all tried it. And like he talked to his doctor and everything. He was like, is this like safe for me to do this? And the doctor was like, I mean, I guess. Oh, thanks, Little Fuzz. Yeah, this is it's a DRM free stream playlist on Discord. But it's kind of fun. It's good background music. Twitch cracks down pretty hard on DRM these days, so it's worth trying not to get dinged about your music choices. I don't know if you guys saw during the BlizzCon Online stuff, they had Metallica play, which is great and all, but the live performance that was part of BlizzCon got like dinged by Twitch and was replaced with this like extremely goofy like Twinkie Forest's elf music. So it's like these guys like rocking out on their guitars and it's just like do 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 do, you know. Very ironic. Especially because wait, was it Metallica? Am I crazy? It might not have been. I'm gonna check this. I don't wanna lie. Let's see, it was BlizzCon. Oh yeah, it was Metallica. Huh. Which is very funny because Metallica was, yeah, like Bedoni is saying, they were kind of the original like major motivator in a lot of the DRM punishment on the internet in the first place, especially to do with Napster. So it's very, very funny that they were the ones who got dinged in this case. So it's like, oh, you're getting a taste of your own medicine, huh? Huh? Ah, the Twitch universe. I'm still trying to clear out these little peg holes on the bottom here. It's very, very annoying. The song reminds you of Kirby. Oh yeah, it's called Legend of Lowcore by Pop Sky. A lot of the tracks on this playlist are by Pop Sky with 2 Ys. In fact, almost all of them are. And like, you know what? I like it. It's good background music. It's fun. If we get sick of it, I have another playlist I can change to, though. Unfortunately, I cannot share with you guys on stream, at least, the rather absurd number of D&D character playlists that I have, because I'm that type of person. Bjorn's playlist is almost 3 hours at this point, though. And I mean, like, I was being dragged because some of the songs on that playlist are like solidly 8 minutes, so that's partially a contributor there, but I just keep adding to it. But like, who doesn't want to listen to a Viking cover of Seven Nation Army, you know? Yeah, see, Bedoni appreciates my extra long playlist. Yes, you do. I mean, you know, do what makes your heart happy. You're not, like, required to do it, but I think it's good fun. I don't really sit down, you know, and go, I am going to make a playlist and then hunt out 20 songs or whatever. It is very much that it's like as I'm listening to whatever it is I'm listening to, if something reminds me of a character or I'm like, oh yeah, this is a vibe, I'll add it to a playlist. So they do develop over time. Purple, your playlist is 7 minutes. Is that, what is that, like 2 songs? 3 songs? Sometimes that's all you need. Listen, every playlist starts somewhere. My new playlists a lot of times are like 1 or 2 songs, and then I just keep adding to them until they're long. Right now I have unnamed sci-fi pilot. I have Vance, Alec, Aelin, Bjorn, Laurel Win shitposting edition, and then my like 30 other playlists, because I have a lot of playlists. My Spotify roundup at the end of the year is always kind of a mess because I'm definitely a person who really enjoys seeking out music I've never heard before. Well, I mean, it's often within, you know, I'm not looking at Appalachian folk music or anything, but I listen to a lot of shuffle and a lot of like kind of Spotify radio and stuff. I don't necessarily listen to the same songs over and over again that often. So my roundup at the end of the year is like, your most listened to song, and then they're like 20 times, and I'm like, that's not a lot. But then it'll be like, oh, you discovered 3,000 new artists this year, and I'm like, oh, okay, that seems right, actually. You've made some playlists on Amazon Music. Oh, you know, I agree with you. Spotify has quite good daily playlists. I think they do a pretty good job. I admit that I haven't used Amazon Music that much. I mean, I guess because I use Spotify, there's really not a reason for me to do both. But I've heard it's pretty good. I'm grandfathered into the old Spotify plan that you could add Hulu for like $4 a month. And you can't do that anymore. But if you had the plan and you keep paying for it, they don't take it away from you. So I can like never let go now. That's how they get you. I mean, I was paying for Spotify Premium anyway because I listen to it a lot on my phone and you can't block ads on your phone. And I was getting really sick of like, I wanted to just... I listen to Spotify so much at this point that it was worth it for me to pay for the paid version. So if I'm already paying for Spotify, I might as well add Hulu for like $4. That's super, super not a big deal. And I share all of my streaming services with my parents, so... Look at this mess we're making tonight. I'm actually gonna wipe this down a little bit. There we go. I need like a brush. Actually, I might have one. Here we go. Yeah, actually that doesn't work as well as I had hoped. Live and learn. Oh, I am just covered in this. Covered in tiny little white plastic parts. And this is why I own a vacuum. I'm gonna need to clean my whole desk soon anyway, though my new computer is probably gonna come in like 3 weeks, so I have time, but... I'm very excited. It's very pretty. Better than the white sticky stuff from before. Yeah. More difficult to control, but less dirty. Less dirty. More messy, less dirty. That should be the name of this stream. More messy, less dirty. Alright, I'm gonna kind of scoop some of this into my trash can here. Ow. New computers. I know, right? Birthday party for the new computers. Then I gotta figure out how to sell my old one. Because it's a tower, not a laptop, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass to ship. It's a little tempting to take it apart, actually, and kind of save or piecemeal some of the old parts, but I don't know. We'll see. Because I wasn't really planning on buying an entire new computer. I was planning on just upgrading some parts, but it's so hard to get 30 series right now. I've already talked to you guys about this. But the new one has a really beautiful case. It has RGB fans. It has the whole like gamer rig bullshit. So I will probably... My current case is extraordinarily ugly. It's just like an old silver Asus nothing case. And it has a lot of really good inserts. It's a good case. It's just ugly. So it's under my desk because, like, I don't want to see that. Yeah, see, I felt that way too, Little Fuzz, that I was like, I could either pay an exorbitant amount over retail for, you know, a new GPU, or I can just buck up, buy a whole new system that'll last me another 5, hopefully more years, and then I can just sell my old one to offset the cost. So that's where we are. All right, what should I work on now? Oh no, what else do I have to trim here? We made a lot of progress tonight. I mean, I can just do a show and tell. Oh, I just kind of knocked something over. One sec. I have some Scarlet Witch belt buckles. There we go. Oh, your D&D got canceled? I'm sorry, dude. That always sucks. My Wednesday game is very hit or miss. It's, you know, we all kind of have different revolving schedules, and everybody's an adult who does work and stuff. So it's like, it is exceedingly common that we cancel my Wednesday game, and I feel you. It's always too bad. Oops. I have some stuff I need to repair. Let's see. Oh, I have my new dowels in. I might be able to fix my blaster. It's gonna fit in here? Yeah, maybe. So, I showed this on last stream, but if you weren't here. So this is... Officially, this is Leia's blaster. However, it is used in Luke's costume at the end of episode 4 when he's wearing that sort of buttery yellow coat, which, as some of you guys know, I did make that coat from scratch. So I made this blaster. I took all the the official photos and stuff, so it survived that long. But then I very foolishly broke it. And so basically what I did is I drilled out the inside of these pieces because this is such a delicate area. So I drilled out these two ends, and I'm gonna insert one of these dowels into those holes along with all the epoxy and that kind of stuff. Yeah, the award ceremony. And so hopefully that will help this be a little bit stronger in the future. And then obviously I'm gonna need to repaint this center section once I'm finished repairing it, but we'll see how it goes. So the dowel is not quite fitting into the gun half. So I'm gonna see if I can trim that out just a little bit. This is actually why I bought a whole bag of those wooden dowels, because I really only needed, what did I use today? 3? But I figured I'd end up using them for other projects and stuff, so. 3D prints can be really, really strong when they're thick, but sometimes when they're really, really thin, especially because most 3D prints are semi-hollow, depending on your settings, they can break quite easily. Oh, we're almost there. We're almost there. I am also a big, in terms of making cosplay in general, I am very dedicated to making things really strong and things that'll last and things that'll stand up to multiple uses, multiple cons, multiple wears, things that I don't have to stress about. I find it very tiring if I'm wearing a costume that I'm worried about. Like if I'm walking around and I'm worried that the thing that I'm wearing is gonna break for some reason, I find it very tiring. So I try to make everything as well as I can so that when I'm wearing it at cons, I can just be confident. Just like, no. You ate too much pasta. Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible. Pasta is one of the food groups. We all know that. Beer is a food group. Well, for some people. And carbs are a food group, which includes bread and includes pasta. Yeah, that was a rough pun. Once in a while, I get a good dad pun in. Alright, we're getting there. I'm gonna need to cut it down a little bit, but that's okay. So it looks like I need to cut it down an inch and a half. Let me move this droid collar out of the way. There we go. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna cut about an inch and a half off of this. Let's see if I can use scissors on these babies. I actually don't know. Nah, it's not great. I'm better off with the blade. As always, cut away from yourself. Be careful of your fingers. You have this emote for 24 hours? Nice. Make good use of it. Make good choices. By which I mean make terrible choices. Popcats! Alright, so these sticks I have found so far, I've been able to kind of just score. You can see that I just cut all the way around like that. And then I've been able to just sort of... Oh, I broke in the wrong spot! Look at that! Alright. There we go, now it broke in the right spot. I cannot tell you guys how long this blaster has been sitting on my table waiting to get fixed. Like, it has to have been at least 6 months. So we're making progress tonight. Okay, it's actually not lining up exactly right. I don't even think you can see that on camera, but this section here that I'm tapping is sitting a little higher. So I'm gonna see if I can fix that. Yeah, streams honestly are fantastic for getting work done. Because you're like, you know what? I told a bunch of people that I was going to do this on Friday or Saturday or whatever. So now I have to be accountable for that shit. It's great. I don't even know if my needle nose is... There's a little tiny piece of plastic in here that's kind of getting in the way. And I'm trying to dig it out here. But we're seeing how it goes. Oh, that actually works really well. Huh. Here, I'm basically just grinding my pliers into this hole. Which, there you go. There's another terrible thing that I have said on stream. Okay, that feels like it might work a little bit better. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. Alright. It might be epoxy time again. Ooh, your grandma just gave you a bunch of... off of a weighted blanket. Ooh. I know a lot of people who've really been enjoying their weighted blankets. I have never touched or used one, but they seem pretty cool. Alright, I'm gonna move a few of the things that I glued because I am starting to worry, excuse me, that I'm gonna knock some stuff over. What did I just say? Although I actually just found a part that I neglected to glue on. So, not all is lost. Yeah, I actually need to do that. Whoops, sorry about that. Alright, let me get some stuff out of the way. We'll do a little bit more epoxying. I also need to, I found another thing I need to glue. So I have a little cute Animal Crossing box. It opens up. But these two little stars in the front here have not been glued in. They're just loose. So I need to fix that. I actually need to trim this just a little bit so it fits right. It's cute, right? I did play a bunch of Animal Crossing this year. I won't say that I'm a lifelong Animal Crossing stan or anything. I basically built a tiki bar over like 100 hours and then stopped playing the game, but this is actually for someone else. Many of the things I'm working on are for someone else. I feel a little bad, actually, for the person who did this model because it kind of escaped them. They were giving it away for free, sort of generally for personal use, not for commercial use, but it got featured on a bunch of, like, major news outlets and stuff, and then a bunch of people started selling them, basically. So you'll see almost this exact same shape and box type on eBay and Etsy for like super cheap, and it's like, it's just how it is. Have I been to Amber's Island? No, Amber and I are not Animal Crossing friends, actually. Nor are we Switch friends. We should be. I haven't logged into Animal Crossing in quite a while. Yeah, Amber, shoot me your friend code. I'll add you. I have sort of a funny situation because I was playing Animal Crossing on my roommate's Switch before I bought one earlier in the year. So my save is still on that Switch under my account. So the amount of effort, as you guys can imagine, it takes me to log into my island, it does need to be deliberate. Like, it does need to be that someone is like, come over, or whatever. I also stopped paying for the Nintendo online service, so I actually am not sure I can visit people's islands anymore. Oh, they finally implemented an upward... Oh, I didn't know that, Badoni! Huh. I'll think about it. I would have to own the game. Well, I have to think about whether she has a cartridge or not. Well, regardless, I don't know that I can visit people because I stopped paying for the online service. Animal Crossing was a wonderful time in all of our lives a year ago. And for some of you folks more recently, which I'm very happy about. I escaped the Animal Crossing dungeon. But I have a lot of respect for people who are still taking care of business over there. I escaped directly into Breath of the Wild, to be fair. I crunched that entire game out in like 30 days. Okay, alright, I think I'm ready to glue this. I need to figure out where I'm gonna rest this blaster while it's curing, though. Oh, I would highly recommend finishing Breath of the Wild. But there's a lot of content in that game. I mean, you can blitz through and finish the game honestly pretty quick, but if you really kind of want to take your time and explore, it takes quite a while. I'm super hyped about Breath of the Wild 2. We know basically nothing, but it's kind of an open secret. Listen, Breath of the Wild will always be there for you guys. It's not going anywhere. Like a good friend, Breath of the Wild is there. Ooh, Horizon Zero Dawn. That game was amazing. Okay, so here's some of my shenanigans you guys get to see. So basically I want this barrel section, this broken piece, I want it to sit exactly vertically so that it cures in the position that it needs to be in. So what I'm trying to see if I can do here is balance it in this notch here on the edge of this duct tape roll in such a way that the gun is supported. So I basically need to insert something else inside this ring, which kind of will probably just be whatever random junk is on my desk. There we go, I keep knocking over Jester's sickle. Well, I've got some little, like, 3D printed chunks here. This might be the right height. Let's find out. Close. I need it to be a little taller than that. How much taller? Maybe 2 of them? Add a strip of tape on top of the grip. Oh, yeah, that's smart. Oh, I think I got it. 2 of these. Alright, so 2 of these little things are the right height. I'm gonna need to put something under this side now, though, because it's wanting to tip the wrong direction. So, part 2. No. Oh man, people love Stardew Valley. I've only ever seen it played. I have not played it myself. I'm a little hit or miss on that kind of like farm simulator kind of stuff. Sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. It just depends. Alright, that's feeling pretty good. Just kind of some loose printed parts here. Yeah, I think that'll go okay. As long as it doesn't fall over. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Alright, I'm gonna move this little silly setup that I have off screen here. I am, though, I'm gonna cut off just a tiny bit of this duct tape in case I need to use it to stabilize. Never hurts to have a little duct tape available, as we know. Sea Purple, though, like, I feel like I'd enjoy it, but I already have, like, Valheim, and, like, I can't... Sometimes I know that if I go too far down the rabbit hole on games like that, that it'll really affect my productivity. I'm like, oh, but what if I played the farming simulator game instead of doing work? Yeah. Sometimes, unfortunately, we have to be responsible adults. Animal Crossing hours are fucking brutal, dude. I think my roommate and I combined put in like 200 to 300 hours. Which, like, granted, it was both of us. Okay, don't let me forget. So I'm gluing the Animal Crossing box. I'm gluing the blaster. I'm gluing the rest of Meg's whip. So there are 3 things. I don't think I have anything else. Okay, 3 things. I can't forget them. You're laughing at my 2 to 300. I know it's low, actually. For Animal Crossing, 2 to 300 is not that high. Okay, we're gonna start with a relatively small amount of epoxy, and then we'll see if it's enough. So I threw away my little mixing stick, so it's time to move on to my patented what if I just used a piece of cardboard technique. This feels like elevator music. What is this? I feel like I'm in like a fancy restaurant right now. I wish I was in a fancy restaurant right now, let me tell you. Pandemic? What pandemic? Oh my god, 400 hours in FE. Oh, Jesus. Cat Birdie. I mean, I'm not surprised. I know that you're garbage, but... Oh, fuck. I'm getting epoxy on my thing here. Here we go again, y'all. Putting the slime in the hole. Get your adult ratings out. I am gonna need more epoxy, though, I can already tell. Okay, I know that you've played it 7 times. Okay, I didn't know that you'd played it 7 times. That's maybe more than I thought. Alright, let me make some more epoxy. And fucking turn off this elevator music. Ah, we're into the jazz section of this playlist. Fuck that shit. There we go. Alright, now we're into the trance section. We'll see how we feel about this. I mean, I can't talk shit. I already have like 40 hours in Valheim, like, just building a fucking house. But like, Valheim is such a good game. So I'm basically trying to fill the inside of this gun with as much epoxy as I reasonably can, because I just really want to strengthen it up so that hopefully I don't have another break like this one. It's actually taking a ton of epoxy. It's really sinking down inside the barrel, which is good, but it's more than I expected. I'm actually going to tap this a little and see if I can get it to go down in there more. Eh. Oh, I think this might actually work out really well. I just have to make sure that it bonds exactly straight, as intended. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't rip duct tape with your teeth, kids. Because I've already painted this gun, I'm trying really, really hard not to get epoxy on the painted sections. Because I really want this to be as easy to repaint as possible. I don't really want to have to redo the whole thing. Okay, I need this to be straight, and I need it to be lined up. I need it to be all of my hopes and dreams. Okay, we're looking good. Very stressful. Well, wish me luck that cures the way that it's supposed to. Dragon Age Inquisition was 900 hours? Good lord. Uh-oh, I might have just run out of disk space on my recording here. So excuse me if my computer starts acting a little weird. Actually need to check some files real quick. Oh, I didn't run out of disk space. My my backup ran out of disk space. Okay. I had a little bit of a moment there. I was scared. I am rapidly running out of disk space. See, I have multiple hard drives, and recording these long sessions like this takes up a lot of gigabytes, let me tell you. Currently, it is not letting me transfer a video. Very exciting. Exciting stream content here. Okay, well I got one. Well, we're living by the seat of our pants here tonight, folks. I've actually never played Dragon Age. I started watching a friend of mine play, which I was enjoying, but unfortunately her stream time is Wednesdays, which is usually when I have D&D. So I was not able to catch as many of her streams as I would have liked. But she was starting from number 1. But with a handful of mods that kind of make the game a little bit more palatable and a little bit more playable. Alright, let's see. I have some more things to glue. I gotta do that before I run out of epoxy. Okay, I only need a tiny bit on this little star. I know, I got a lot of Dragon Age folks in the chat. I was very much a Mass Effect, not a Dragon Age. I love all of the Mass Effect games, but I never made it to playing any of the Dragon Age games. Okay, Animal Crossing box is done. you should stream Dragon Age. I'd watch that. Oop, error occurred. I ran out of space, y'all. Very tragic. Hopefully it doesn't do anything to this stream, but I apologize if it does. Oh yeah, we're still fine. Okay. Ooh, this is very, like, epic orchestral. This playlist is kind of an adventure. Alright, so we got a bunch of Bioware folks. What's your favorite of the 3 Dragon Ages? Like, if I was... There are 3, right? If I was gonna play only one Dragon Age, which Dragon Age should I play? This is the real question of the week. And can you please remind me what order they go in? Because that's a whole mess. Okay, Origins 2 and Inquisition. What a fucking nightmare that is. Okay, we have a vote for Dragon Age 2. Oh, sorry, no. Dragon Age 2 is the medieval dating sim. Origins is your favorite, but Inquisition is your recommendation. Okay. So Inquisition is the newest one. So it's like how I recommend people play Witcher 3 and skip Witchers 1 and 2. Which are not bad games, to be clear, but 3 is really the gem. What is Origins Awakening? Is this like an expansion? Oh, it's DLC and it's buggy. So my friend who started streaming it was talking about how there was DLC for the original game and that it was like basically you had to download it using like an in-game purchaser basically that doesn't work anymore. So the only way to play the DLC in the original game now is to install it as like a mod. Is that true? Because that's crazy. Oh, they fixed it if you use the streaming services. Okay. You downloaded and played just fine through EA. Interesting. I was gonna say, I was just like, I would be so surprised if they kind of like quote unquote left money on the table like that, that they're like, oh yeah, we made the DLC, but you can't fucking get it anymore. Because I mean, a lot of companies now will sell like definitive edition or whatever, where they kind of just like the DLC just comes with it now, like that you don't have to buy it separately. I know that The Witcher 3 does that. I don't even think you can buy the DLC separately anymore. I think it's just packaged into the main game. One DLC is broken. I have yet to hear back. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm sure that it's not really their top priority is getting DLC for like such an old game ironed out, but like people love that game. I'm trying to clean up a little bit of this sort of, there's a little bit of crunchiness on the inside of this skull ring thing, but I think I'm gonna be better off using a Dremel just because it is sometimes really difficult to use a flat X-Acto blade basically to trim the inside of a curve, if that makes sense. Like it can be quite difficult to do that. Oh, am I lagging super badly? I just noticed that. Huh. That's weird. Oh yeah. Let's see, my camera feed is lagging. Are you guys seeing that? Oh, I guess it's better now. Huh. Super weird. Ah, Twitch, the eternal saga. Sometimes things are fine and then they just very randomly are not. Like, for some reason, the widget in my Streamlabs that shows me my audio levels, almost every stream it crashes about an hour in. So it's like, at that point, I pretty much know if my audio levels are good or not, so it's not the end of the world, but I don't get to keep up with I don't get to look at my audio levels after like an hour. And you know, monitoring is a good thing. All right, I think that I have glued everything I need to glue. And trimmed everything I need to trim. I'm thinking about it. You can see the hamster wheel going. Let me double check all these little skulls that I cleaned these all the way. Sometimes I really do check by feeling. Actually, I can just kind of tell if there's something that's sticking up or yeah. So Purple, Streamlabs is OBS. Streamlabs is a version of OBS. Maybe you know this, but for anybody who doesn't, so Streamlabs functions on the OBS platform. It just happens to be geared a little bit more towards streaming. It's entirely possible that some of the bugginess that I'm experiencing is me and not the fault of the software. My computer was quite good in 2016, but at this point sometimes struggles a little bit with certain things once in a while, which was part of the reason that I did such a major upgrade that I'm waiting on right now. Because I do use my computer for a lot of things, streaming, 3D modeling, 3D printing. It does matter that I have good graphics processing. It's definitely a business expense, but it also means I can play video games. We love a utility workhorse in this house. I mean, I could convert this into a drawing stream. I got some art to work on. How are you guys feeling? Are you going to bed soon? I like how Bedoni just laughs. Bedoni doesn't sleep. She watches and waits and updates the Laurelwind notes. If you stick around, you're gonna see a teaser of something for Laurelwind if I do the art streaming. Waiting on Bjorn wearing a baby Bjorn. See, I visualize his cat bag as, the joke's very good, but I do visualize the cat bag as very much like the Mandalorian's little kind of side sling that he has for Grogu. Bedoni, I don't think I really realized your dedication to like 80s hair. Like obviously you've talked shit about it, but I don't think I realized like how your true dedication to the 80s hair on Scotty until I really looked at your Pinterest board, and then I was like, oh, so I think this time I've gotten your hair correct. I mean, the way that I drew it before was very like, if this was real life, and like this was really like kind of what you were executing on a day-to-day basis. But like, it's D&D. We can make it full fucking 80s if we want to. I also like, you know, I think it'd be really cool if we were able to use these for the channel, and if we're gonna use them for the channel, I would really like them to accurately reflect what people are envisioning for their characters. Like, I really want to hit, you know, even if people are like, oh, like, I envisioned her face narrower, or, like, her jaw stronger, or, like, her nose longer, or whatever. Like, I really genuinely do, like, I want to get these right for you guys. Alright, skull's trimmed. Let me, you guys are gonna watch me do a little bit of a switch over live here.